Everybody, Heather here talking to you briefly about Zoom. If you are watching this video, it is likely that you have been a hybrid teacher and you are preparing for the chance that we could be pivoting to a full remote circumstance. If in fact that happens, it's really helpful for you to know some more advanced features of Zoom, and that's what I want to share with you. The first thing I have up here is the schedule, and I know that many of you have been Zooming with students in hybrid fashion first thing in the morning for approximately 15 minutes, half an hour, and with such a short Zoom, you may not have seen some of the more advanced features. I can tell you with some of the things I'm going to show you, it is conceivable that you could open your Zoom meeting and keep it open all day long, manipulating some of the different options, putting students in groups, putting students in waiting rooms, controlling the chat, and these are some of the things I want to show you how to do. So keeping that in mind, I am going to hop over to zoom.us. This is the website where I can see all of my meetings. Perhaps you have been setting your meetings up this way, perhaps not. But anyway, I'm going to launch the Zoom meeting that I want to demonstrate in from here. So I'm in the website and I've already set it up and I'm simply going to hit the start button. I want to show you all these things inside Zoom. Keep in mind, I'm working on my MacBook Air. I can tell that because it's automatically launching the Zoom app that is on my MacBook. You do have the option always in Zoom to join from your browser. Keep in mind, Zoom's going to look a little bit different in this app than it's going to look through your web browser, then it's going to look on your iPad. This demonstration is on the MacBook through the app on the MacBook. So you can see the Zoom window opens, and what I tell folks when they are using Zoom, I'm just going to move this out of the way, you want to really start in the bottom left-hand corner on the navigation bar and work left to right. So the first thing you're going to do is take a look at the mute. I can mute. Okay, that was funny because I muted and then you probably couldn't hear me. So when you put the red line through, you see that. You have many options in mute if you didn't know that, okay? If you click that little drop-down arrow, you're going to see that you have lots of different audio settings that you can select from. Okay, but I'm going to leave it on for now. Same goes with a video. First thing I'm going to do is unmute myself, and then you can see me on the big screen. But please know if you click that little drop-down arrow, you have some options here. One fun one being virtual backgrounds, okay? You do have some settings in here as well. So when you click off video settings, you can make some changes. So don't hesitate to look at those things. They might help you. Okay, the other thing is, again, we're going left to right. If you click on security, this is where you can lock a meeting, you can enable a waiting room, you can allow participants to chat or not. Perhaps you haven't been using the chat, but maybe you're going to need to use the chat if we go fully remote so that students can, in fact, send you a question if they need to without speaking up, because they might not feel comfortable speaking up in a Zoom meeting of 30 different kids. This is where you could check that off. I'm going to show you too, as we go further down the line, when you get into chat, how you can restrict students to just chat with you, not necessarily with each other. Okay, that's totally doable as well. So don't hesitate to click on these and take a look. Your participants button, when you click on this, of course, it's going to open the side panel. I'm sure many of you have been using this. And what's great is if you have enabled the waiting room, the students don't all jump in at once. They are stacked in the waiting room. To check to see if you've enabled the waiting room, you can always come down here to the More button in the bottom right-hand corner, and you have check boxes here that you can control things. So if the waiting room is not enabled, you can put the check there and enable it. You can also allow participants to unmute themselves or not. Maybe you want the kids to stay muted. So check out all these options that are here. Okay, the other button I want to show you as I go right to the right is chat. If you click on this, you'll notice the participants window shrunk up to the top, and now the chat window is down along the bottom. Again, if you look for this very little subtle button that has 3 dots, the 3 ellipses, and I open it, I have choices to control the chat. Right now it's set for everyone publicly, which means anybody who gets in the Zoom meeting can chat back and forth. If you don't turn the chat window on, you might not even know the kids are doing that. So you want to turn the chat window on, and then you also want to control, are you allowing them to talk back and forth? I wouldn't recommend that until you teach them what's appropriate to say in the chat and what isn't. Okay. You also have the option to only open the chat so they can only send it to you. That's what host only means. Or you can just turn it off completely so at least they're not chatting with each other. This is using the chat would be a great place for a gradual release of responsibility. Okay. For instance, the first time you're Zooming, no one can chat. The second time, turn host only and let the kids know that they can send a question to you in the chat and they won't be able to chat with anybody else. And that, you know, after you have those conversations and you teach them what's appropriate, then you can open it up perhaps to everybody publicly when they're ready to handle that. Okay, but a great tool for a gradual release of responsibility in the chat. The other thing I want to make sure you're aware of is that share screen, there are many options to share your screen. Okay, you can allow students to share the screen, which is something in a remote setting you might want to do. If a student is trying to explain to you what is going on, you might want to give them the option to share their screen so you can actually see what they're doing and try to help them. Okay, that's super important. And those options are here. And then when you do share the screen, of course, there are many options you have beyond just sharing your desktop. Zoom has a built-in whiteboard. I don't know if many of you have used this yet, but this is a fantastic thing that remote teachers have been doing, because now instead of standing at the whiteboard and writing on it, you can do it digitally and it will project through Zoom. The other things you can do is you can also have your iPad go through Zoom. You can connect them. And we'll make other videos to explain more about that. Okay, but all these features are here. These additional features are right in Zoom, and they're going to be features that will give you a lot more options when you're in a fully remote setting. Okay, of course, you still have polling here. You can still record the meeting if you choose. You have closed caption options, and then reactions even are here. And in more, of course, we have breakout rooms. This is another great feature that you very well may take advantage of in a remote setting as opposed to hybrid. If you haven't used this yet, you would come in here and you can determine how many rooms. You could say automatically just split the kids up and put them in rooms, or you could say manually, in which case once you create the breakout rooms come up here. You can rename them if you want. And then when you click the assign button, what would happen if there were more people here in the Zoom? All their names would line up in that window, and it would have a checkbox, and you would say check, 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 and you would check the kids you want in which room. Okay, so using breakout rooms becomes really fantastic when you are in a fully remote setting. And this is one of the great reasons why we went to Zoom, because of the sophistication and what you can do with the breakout rooms. Those are just some of the things I wanted you to be aware of so that you knew, should we pivot to remote, that they are available in Zoom and you can dig deeper. This was just sort of a basic get to know these things. And if you want more, you can click on the link at the bottom of the slide and go to our Tech Integrators website. And we have lots more videos about some of the more advanced features in Zoom. So I hope that helps you get started. Should we be pivoting? Okay.